like to have silly ideas. Ideas wild and unimaginative, and ideas simple and straightforward. I have ideas ranging from how to get ready faster in the mornings to how to make food taste better, and maybe, just maybe, an idea that can change the world. Now, my ideas haven't always been interpreted in the ways I would have liked. Just ask my literature teacher why I got a C on my paper. But sometimes you get that idea. You have that idea that requires a leap of faith and a mountain of hope. And a couple months ago, I had that idea. And I took that leap of faith and I embraced that mountain of hope. And a year ago, at the age of 14, I made a short film that received international acclaim and an invitation to the White House. In a time where our means of technology are advancing, it's no surprise that our means of communicating have advanced too. No longer do we have to take a chunk of time to read a complex article when we can just simply sit and watch. Videos have become such a critical part of our communication. You watch videos for anything and everything because they're just simply easy. In a world that is moving so fast, it is interesting to take a step back from it all and look at what we do daily. We communicate through our fingertips and we learn through a screen. Now, most would come to say that being a millennial is a curse, that millennials are selfie-crazed, narcissistic, internet-addicted, texting drivers. And while some of those statements could sometimes prove to be a little true, we contain a power that has opened up a world of opportunity. Take the internet, for example. In 2016, 3.4 billion people used the internet daily. Isn't it amazing to think that one complicated piece of technology has the power to link the whole world together? These are no longer the days where you write a letter and wait weeks for a reply. This is a time where you do and receive instantaneously. The internet is most arguably used for the various social media platforms. And while social media is often looked down upon, we are failing to realize the complexities at the opportunities that it holds. When you really delve into thoughts, you would see that you have access to the entire world. You can communicate with over 3.4 billion people. And while social media is still most popularly used to share a selfie or to share a good picture, we need to realize the power that we have in our hands. Rather than thinking of a picture of yours to go viral, think of an idea to go viral, a story to go viral. Something that has the opportunity to change the world, because I know we all have that power. And believe me, a good hair day isn't going to do much to change the world. And so the moment I started believing strongly in an idea was when I made a short film about it. I made a short film about racism and about my life as a young Muslim woman in America. And it has created so much conversation. It received international attention and also the opportunity to share my story and to share my ideas and my thoughts. Now, the upcoming of my film probably surprises you just as much as it surprises me. It all started with a summer project. Being a high schooler, I also joined the International Baccalaureate program, otherwise known as IB. And they require you to do a summer project the year before your sophomore year, and it's called the Personal Project. So on top of the homework and the deadlines, the assignments, I hate to say that I procrastinated just a little bit, and I decided to go with the idea of the most basic photography portfolio I could have. Now, don't get me wrong, photography is an essential form of art, and it is so explicit and beautiful, but in no means was what I was doing considered photography. And so halfway through the summer, as I was looking through my portfolio, I came across shots of artsy pictures of my coffee and close-ups of people's eyes, and of course, the winner, a shoelace tied into the various letters of the alphabet placed on various backgrounds. Slap a black and white filter on it and call it good. That was my winner. But then after looking through this, I thought to myself, what was my advisor going to think? And so I scratched it. I said, no, this isn't it. And then a couple days later, as I was scrolling through Instagram, I came across the White House post for the White House Student Film Festival. The topic this year was the world I wanted to live in. And naturally, I thought about my life and the things that I go through. It was a film that captured the reality, where I got dirty looks and mean tweets. And then I had a dream where I was smiled at and I was appreciated. My film became a final selection of the White House Film Festival, and I had the honor of being invited to the White House. My silly little idea took me 2 weeks to make, but it received the attention of President Obama. My days at the White House were days full of creativity and conversation. The first day being a day where you mingled and talked with the 12 other films selected in the nation. And we had conversations about moving our world forward and creating better futures for us. Because how silly of it is an idea to have kids choose their future, right? And so as we were talking, I came across this little girl who was 6 years old, and she had the idea to bring pizza to your local police departments every week. She was 6 years old, and she had an idea that could change the world. The next day was a festival called South by South Lawn, a spin-off of South by Southwest, otherwise known as SXSL. It was a festival full of creativity and innovation and taking action. There, I had the opportunity to speak to numerous magazines and organizations, and also to share my stories and share my opinions. All of the kids selected had the honor of meeting President Obama, who, let me tell you, is probably the nicest guy in the world that I've ever met. But when you think about it, we're all kids standing in a room with the president, talking about our futures. That is the power that we all have. And so, my days were filled with meeting very, very interesting and special people. I met with Millie Bobby Brown, star of Netflix hit series Stranger Things, about having ideas and having dreams at such a young age and acting on them. I met with Bethany Moda, YouTube sensation, about using the platforms we have, like YouTube and Instagram and Twitter, to share messages and to promote ideas. I also had the honor of working with Amy Poehler's Smart Girl organization, about inspiring and empowering our youth to have a voice and to use their voice. My film has provided me with so much knowledge and so much inspiration and confidence to be able to tell people what I think and to use my voice. Now, this film, this whole experience was such a pivotal moment in my life. Because before I made this film, I had no ideas or intentions of speaking up. I knew what was going on in the world and I knew how I was being treated, but I never once thought to act on it and to speak out. And my decision to even make a film was blossomed from the effect that the news outlets and the media was having on people like me. After feeling so long of feeling voiceless, feeling like I was being compressed into this tiny little box the world didn't want to see, I decided that I needed to be heard. The struggle of being this age, the struggle of being 15, was that I have no legal say in my future. I don't have the right to vote. And by my age, there's no legal rights for me to choose and to act. But I learned that I have my voice, and my voice was all that I really need. A couple years ago, if you were to ask me what I thought about feminism, I would be appalled. Because like most people, for some unknown, weird reason, I had this idea that feminism, and that if I were to say that I was a feminist, would mean that I was a weak and whiny woman who was ungrateful for what she had. And that is so not the case. Feminism is about creating equal playing fields, and not taking one gender over the other, but creating a fair environment for each other to strive. And so if you asked me today, I would say that yes, I'm 100% a feminist. And so, as election season came around, I began to pay attention to social issues going on around the world. I found out what I agreed with and what I didn't, but the one thing that I was always certain in was the idea of equality. Now, it no longer matters whether or not you are on the left or the right of things, but it is undeniable that there is unrest in our society and that equality is scarce. As much as it is heartbreaking and confusing to say, but the fact is that you can't blame someone, to a certain extent, about thinking negative thoughts about a religion or a race, because the fact is that they simply don't know. And I realized this by asking people who knew me, by asking my friends, my teachers, the people at school, what they thought about my religion and what they thought about me. And I was shocked to realize that my closest friends have no idea who I am. They don't know what it means to be a Muslim. They don't know what it means to be me. They don't know what completes me. And that is the biggest problem. More needs to be done to create awareness and to educate others about the people around us and our neighbors, and to create an idea of acceptance throughout our whole community. I'm grateful for my film, and I learned that you as an individual possess so much more power than you are aware of. We all have access to the internet, and we all have the resources to do what needs to be done. It's just a matter of finding something you really care about and fighting for it. My film has provided me with the confidence to speak up and to fight for what I believe is right. And so I attended several marches held fighting for our rights. And I went to the Women's March, most importantly. It was a march that took place the day after the inauguration. And the purpose was to send solidarity and to fight for equal gender rights and equal gender issues. Isn't it ironic how 1 month I was being invited by the president to the White House and the next I was protesting? Still crazy to me. Good thing it was 2 presidents. And so, the Women's March was a worldwide phenomenon held on every single continent. Every single continent. There was a boat in the middle of the glaciers in Antarctica with about 30 people holding signs, protesting and standing in solidarity. That is the power of social media. If you were to have asked me what I was fighting for at the Women's March, I would have said the right to be a woman. And then a couple weeks later, if you asked me the same question at the Muslim March, I would have said the right to simply exist. And that is a good thing. We all have certain beliefs, and we all have different passions, and we all have the power to change the world. With the technology and the power that we have today, it is so incredibly easy. It is so incredibly easy to pick up your phone, say a few words, and start a movement. Never underestimate the power of a retweet, or a like, or a share, or even a crazy thought. Because right now, at the age of 15, I know that our ideas, even our silliest of ideas, have the power to change the world.